Welcome everyone to the Tethys Shipyards. I am Takeshi Yamato, the Yard Master, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today, we're basically doing a general update thing for our the various space frames we've already done for second edition spec. Now, most of the stuff is the same, and we're just going to cover some of the stuff that isn't. And honestly, we have so many different space frames that I'm not going to bother looking up the documents for them. We're just going to discuss things.
In general, this is a everything else is the same. Here's what isn't. Update.
Yeah. And, well, we might also cover some of the official stuff with stuff that we think is appropriate. Because the core book doesn't because the second edition core book doesn't cover every space frame in Utopia Planitia. It just covers for Starfleet, it covers the NX, the Connie, which you're seeing here, and whoever decided that the 2E core book Connie art for its stat page should be the STD SNW look should be shot.
Repeatedly. With a railgun.
Yeah.
And then what was left fired from a railgun.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it's an underside-ish look from what I can see, but that is definitely the STD Connie from what I can see. And so the NX, the Connie, the Excelsior, the Ambassador, the California, the the Galaxy, the Intrepid, the Sovereign, and the Connie 3. Those are all the Federation space frames covered in the 2E core book, though they do mention that other Star Trek Adventures supplements offer additional space frames. So,
that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. Shift around so we're looking at it from the front. Yeah, that's it, definitely.
Oh, God. Look, Kurtzman is out. It's an alternate time. STD's an alternate timeline. Get over it.
Yes.
This is the only Constitution class. Well, that and this thing.
Yes. Yes. Those are the only Connies. Those are the only TOS era Connies we should be worried about, not the STD thing. Anyway. For starters, let's look up everything. First up, Enterprise era boats. We haven't covered too many of those, but Utopia Planitia has several. The J-Class and Y-Class freighter, the Warp Delta, the Daedalus class, the NX herself, and the 22nd Century Intrepid type. Any ship from that era, the main difference is that if it has the Talent polarized hull plating or grappler cables, those become special rules, which free up talent slots. So you can add more talents if you want. And that is that is it for NX era stuff, and basically everything else seems to be mostly the same. Everything else is mostly the same in terms of stats and special rules, and anything that anything that has anything that has a well anything that has the saucer separation talent that well that has the saucer separation talent that that needs it, such as the Galaxy, the Ross, the Andromeda, and Odyssey variants, that becomes the saucer separation and reconnect special rule. The basic saucer separation special rule found on things like the Connie and the Excelsior is basically just an emergency lifeboat. You cannot reconnect this thing outside of a dry dock thing. And let's see. Yeah, and like we did with our Springfield, and some ships that have saucer separation or some separation variant do not need it. It does not work for them, like the Ambassador or the Springfield or the bloody Steam Runner. Or even the Nebula.
We don't even need to discuss the Nebula.
Yeah. Yeah, saucer separation is not a thing on the Nebula. Anyway. The Intrepid class gained access to a special rule for landing to get landing gear, so they can land on a planetary surface. Let's discuss space frames that we think might work with the landing gear talent, the landing gear special rule. I would say the Defiant.
As much as it's somewhat overrated, yes, it's small enough. Obviously, we don't need to mention the Intrepid, even though she's more or less kind of showcasing the whole thing.
Yeah, they already gave the Intrepid that.
In fact, I think we can see the ports for the landing legs. Which, by the way, didn't actually show up on the physical shooting model.
Ah.
They had to be added in through CGI, but that is at least understandable.
Yes. I would also imagine any Intrepid or Defiant variants would also get landing gear as an option. So the Intrepid herself, the Pathfinder, the Trailblazer.
Everything you see here.
Yeah. And same with the Defiant variants. And anything that we've statted, you can probably add landing gear.
Same with the Aquarius class. In fact, it's outright stated that it's designed for that specific purpose.
Yes. Speaking of the Odyssey class, again, saucer separation becomes a special rule. Saucer separation and reconnect. It becomes saucer separation and reconnect special rule. I would also argue that the Odyssey class has the abundant personnel special rule.
Considering the Galaxy class can have at least 4 times the number of people that were seen in TNG, well over to 4,000 to 6,000 people aboard.
Yes. And the Odyssey class is even bigger. Yeah. I would say the Odyssey class has abundant personnel. Means double crew support. And furthermore, when you introduce a supporting character, you may use an additional crew support or to give them an improvement immediately. Now, let's see some of the special rules. We'll go over the special rules again. The main special rules featured in the second edition core book again, and then we can discuss ships that those apply to. So, first up is abundant personnel. The ship's crew support is doubled after any other modifiers, and any effects or abilities which would increase crew support have twice the normal effect aboard a ship with this special rule. Further, when you introduce a supporting character, you may use one additional crew support to grant them an improvement immediately. Like we said, the Odyssey probably has that. In the book, the Galaxy class does it. Galaxy class has it, and the Didaridex Warbird has it. I would imagine any of the massive flagship vessels would have the abundant personnel special rule. So the Odyssey, the Bordesque, the Scimitar, any of their variants.
Big boats mean more people.
Yes. And any bird of prey type vessel made by the Klingons would probably have landing gear. Oh, right. Landing gear, right. We need to get to that. And there's a couple more before that. Compact vessel. This space frame has a scale of 2, but it does not count as a small craft. It has no small craft capability of its own and cannot launch or receive shuttle pods, shuttlecraft, or any comparable craft.
Technically, runabouts would fall into this category. They're technically full-size starships with their own register codes.
Yep. And the Raven type starship in the Utopia Planitia book would also count as this.
The Erie.
Yep.
Sucks to be the Hansons.
Then there's grappler cable. We've already covered this. This basically replaces the tractor beam and is used only on old ships like the NX class or the ships that I mentioned back when I was covering 22nd century stuff. Landing gear. The vessel is equipped to land safely on a planetary surface and can return to space afterward. To land a ship requires reserve power to be rerouted to structure, and then requires someone at the helm to attempt a control plus con task with a difficulty equal to the ship's scale, assisted by the ship's structure plus con. This can succeed at cost. What succeeding at cost means is if you don't reach if you don't get enough successes to match the difficulty, the check can still succeed. You just give the GM threat equal to the shortfall. So if it's like a difficulty 4 and you get 3 successes, the GM would get 1 threat for it to count as a success. Success means that the ship lands on the planet's surface. Taking off requires the same task attempt, but the difficulty is reduced by 2. So, like I said, Defiant variants, Intrepid variants, Klingon birds of prey.
Probably smaller warbirds and the Jem'Hadar bug ship.
Yeah. And next up is polarized hull plating. Again, this basically okay. Vessels of this space frame lack deflector shields common to many other ships, and instead rely on polarization of the hull plating to resist damage. The ship's shields track instead. Ship's shields track instead represents the state of the ship's polarized hull. The ship's shields are equal to its structure with no additional modifiers. However, these do not count as shields for the purpose of blocking transporter use. And grappler cable, I'll go ahead and read that. The ship utilizes a physical cable with a magnetic hook at the end, in place of the graviton-based tractor beams used by ships in later eras. This functions as a tractor beam, but if the target breaks free, roll a d20. If you roll above the ship's weapon system, the cable is damaged and cannot be used until repaired. Repairing the cable is treated as repairing a breach. So, if you guys saw Star Trek Enterprise and saw that episode where Tucker had to, where Trip had to get back to the Enterprise from Columbia at high warp, and they basically used the grappling cable to. They basically used the grappling cable as a tether for him to transfer across.
I must also stress that cable broke and he nearly died.
Yes, that would be a and that break would be like the ship, the target breaking free and damaging the cable. So yeah, again, polarized hull plating and grappler cables are Enterprise are 22nd century only. Saucer separation. Vessels of this class have the capability to detach their saucer section in an emergency. Once the saucer has detached, the two sections of the ship cannot be reconnected outside of a dry dock. Ship systems are halved, rounded up. For the saucer and the secondary hull when separated, the saucer is unable to enter warp speeds or launch small craft. Each section is considered a separate vessel with scale 1 less than the original vessel. The secondary hull is commanded from main engineering. The saucer can land on a planetary surface with emergency landing gear. Again, this is only for Constitution class vessels and Excelsior class vessels. The advanced version used in Galaxy types and Odyssey types is saucer separation and reconnect. The ship is designed so the saucer section can be separated from the engineering section to operate as two distinct ships. Each section has the same systems, talents, and weapons, but their scale is 1 lower than that of the original vessel. Recalculate anything derived from scale. Further, if the ship suffered any breaches prior to separating, ongoing effects of those breaches apply equally to both sections. The saucer section, which usually contains the crew quarters and recreation areas, does not have the capacity to go to warp. The secondary hull is commanded from main engineering, or a battle bridge. Separating is a major action attempted from the bridge, operations panel, or main engineering, requiring a control plus con task with a difficulty of 3, assisted by the ship's structure plus engineering. Reconnecting takes a major action, but the process is automated and requires no task attempt. Separating and reconnecting cannot be completed if the ship, or either part of it, has suffered 1 or more breaches to structure.
Read something like what happened to the Enterprise D during Generations.
Yeah.
And then there's a major story event where somebody salvages what's left of a Galaxy-class starship to rebuild it.
Yes.
1701D. Bitches!
Yes. But yeah, Galaxy, the Ross, any Galaxy variant, including the Galaxy X variants, would have the saucer separation and reconnect rule. And same with the Audi variants. And that's it for the mainline rule. That's it for the mainline special rules. We can easily come up with more, and there's some others that are featured. Some others that are featured in some other ships, like the Tethys Warbird has the prototype special rule, which is basically the experimental. Basically, some limitations to its cloaking device.
Considering that I'm one of the few people in our little group that's actually watched TOS, and I've actually watched Balance of Terror, there are a lot of problems with the original Tethys Warbird's cloaking device. It is a fuel drain. Something I believe that was resolved later on. But, prototypes.
Yeah. The cloaking device employed on this vessel has some notable limitations. The vessel cannot travel at warp while cloaked, and the difficulty of the task roll to activate the cloak increases to 3. So yeah, that's basically it. We're not going to go through the documents and make adjustments we're not going to go through the documents and make adjustments to every single one, but basically, if it has the sauce, if a 1E starship has a grappler cable or polarized hull plating talents, those become special rules. And if it has the saucer separation talent and appropriately, not an ambassador or a nebula or anything like that, that becomes saucer separation and reconnect. And in the book, they gave Ambassador the basic saucer separation, aka the lifeboat thing. And I do not see any seams. Do you?
No, I don't. If anything, it looks more solid than it ever was before. Look, I get it. I get it. It seems like the saucer can just be ejected. But from everything I've seen, including the structural structure of the ship itself, there is no way in hell this thing is going to be separating that neck from that saucer ever.
Yeah.
Outside of, a Borg ship cutting through it, but that would also softer the warp core, and we all know what happens after that point.
Yeah.
Look,
and
it's just...
Yeah. And the nebula, nebula. Oh my word, the nebula.
Do we really have to point out the problem with this?
I do not think we do.
But just in case we do, because people are stupid, there is absolutely no sign of any seams, plating differences, nothing. The saucer is connected to the bloody nacelles, to the nacelle pylons. It's fused
and the
here. And where the hell are the secondary impulse engines, huh?
Yeah, Yeah, the only impulse engines are on that little extension between the back of the pylons and the back of the saucer. There are no impulse engines on the saucer itself. Okay, the monitor has. Okay, yeah, those two red grills. Those are the only impulse engines.
Stop trying to give saucer separation to everything. It does
Yes,
not make any bloody sense.
yeah, cryptic. I know. Cryptic. No, not cryptic. Modifius. What is your obsession with giving saucer separation to anything that you think even marginally might accept it?
It makes no sense. It would be like
Yeah.
trying to say, this has saucer separation.
Yes.
Now,
Or this.
you might. Now, John Eves made concept art of this thing saucer separating, so you have something of a point there, but. Where? Where's the secondary impulse engines?
Yes. Where's the secondary impulse engines? Where are the steams?
It is one solid part. And if you don't believe us, go look at the physical model. And try and rip that saucer off. Good luck. This thing cannot separate its saucer. Neither can this. Neither can this. Sure as hell this thing can't.
No.
It's just liable to explode. Explode if you touch it. I don't even need to start with this thing.
No, you don't.
Or this.
Okay, this thing this is a Connie. We did see this thing. We did see saucer separation as a thing, and beyond.
This one gets a pass because we saw it happen, and there's an actual goddamn scene here, but it's not to the point of the Galaxy family or the entire Odyssey family. Or
the Prometheus, which I think multi-vector assault mode is like its own special rule. Let me check Utopia Planitia just to make sure.
the point remains.
Yeah, the point remains.
No large overlap of plates that look kind of suspect. It's not. It's not going to saucer separate. Stop trying.
Yes. Multi-vector assault mode is a talent in Utopia Planitia. So I would say this is another thing that gets a special rule conversion. Just for the Prometheus and its variants. Or anything else someone might come up with that has its own... that decides to follow up on the MVAM thing.
Okay, maybe you might have something for the Narendra, but I'm not seeing any separation point from the neck. Oh yeah, it's built in. The torpedo launcher kind of ends that entire argument.
Yeah. Also, let's look at the inquiry.
The inquiry?
Yeah. I'm not thinking for saucer separation or anything, because obviously not. But given its shape, what do you think of landing gear?
Well, it certainly looks the part, and well, ships like this would be designed more for rapid response operations.
Yeah. And landing a starship on a planetary surface would enable greater access to the outside. I mean,
Voyager.
yes, Voyager, the Burrell in Star Trek 4, and heck, in anything in Star Wars that can land usually has some form of entrance ramp, sometimes several.
And to use a more recent Trek example that I don't have access to, the Protostar.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, I can see the new workhorse ship of the fleet, an attempt to replace the Sovereign class, before anyone decides to get angry at me for saying that. It was mass-produced in large numbers. It's newer than the Sovereign, which is clearly getting old. By the point of Picard, it's 3 decades old, and technology continues to march on, whether any of us like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other possible options for landing gear. You probably something either small or flat, such as maybe the Gagarin.
The Gagarin's a little iffy. Though it could be argued that those little wing extensions could serve as stabilizers. And there's plenty of room for little landing gear slots. Hell,
Yeah.
if those weren't escape pods, I'd say they were landing gear hatches.
Yeah. Like I said, if it's flat and or small, I would consider it as a potential option for landing gear. Definitely not that.
Yeah, I was gonna say the nacelles, but the Nova family might work. These things are tiny.
Yeah, the Nova family could definitely work.
It's
maybe not the Aurora. I don't see any
maybe not. As much as I hate to say this, with the advent of digital modeling, you can include more and more and more and more and more detail.
Yeah, but I don't see any landing gear hatches on the Aurora.
This is also a game asset. Someone was actually bitching and complaining about more detail on the Enterprise D's escape pods that didn't show up on the physical model. But then I told him the physical model scale just wouldn't allow those little details. It would have to be flat. It doesn't have a choice. It's literally too small to include those little hatch details. Not so much for a digital model that is much larger, much higher quality, and doesn't have the problem of, oh god, I have to sand this down, fill everything in.
Yeah.
Maybe the Aurora could do that.
Yeah.
The Quasar automatically gives us at least three to four landing gear locations right here. See?
Yes. Yes, I see that. And what's the baseline Nova give us? I see
Oh
two.
my god, it has 2. This thing can land.
It has one. It has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4.
Those would have to be pretty long telescoping legs, but the Nova's not a heavy starship. If Voyager could do it, the Nova can do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if there are any hatches like that on the Defiant, but again, the shape of the Defiant would definitely make me think it can land.
I don't think it can land per se, but but as much as I like ragging on the Defiant class with good reason, The
Yeah,
nacelles could serve as landing gear.
Yeah, the nacelles and possibly the front pod.
Good enough.
3 points of contact. 3 point landing. 3 point landing. That could work too.
Probably not, but I've seen weirder.
Yeah. Maybe.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Not likely.
Yeah, not likely.
It has built-in giant landing skids.
Yes, I would say the Shred. Maybe not the McGee, but the Cabot and the Shred, definitely.
Let's not talk about that piece of crap. Yeah, the Shran and Cabot class can both land on their nacelles.
Yeah, that would count as land. I would count that as having landing gear.
Hey, it even has a little hatch to make sure it has a flat place to land. Because, you know, it is somewhat angled.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Miranda variants are no. Definitely not.
No.
No.
As much as I love the Stelly, no.
No. Yeah.
And as much as I love the Odyssey class, she's 6 million metric tons.
Yeah, no way that thing's landing. But the Aquarius, yeah.
But really, when you have the Aquarius, she doesn't need to.
Yeah. The Aquarius can land. Norway.
She would need long landing gear to offset the nacelles, but maybe it's viable. After all, there's plenty of extenders in the nacelles.
Yes, possibly. And if we look at the Valdres...
Yeah, oh my god, it's even. This thing can land.
Yes!
They must have realized it's close. It's very close to landing, but it's not perfect. What if we redesign it with the Valdres? Do it!
Yes!
It's still a terrible idea for a carrier. It's too small, but point remains.
Yes. It could land. As a Logi boat, it can land. The Achilles.
Flat enough. It's clearly defined from the Intrepid program.
Yeah, I would say this thing would have landing gear.
Nope. Just
no. No.
I want to say no, but part of me wants to say yes.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Not the Nebula class, but probably the Sutherland. We'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
Not the Akira family, unfortunately.
Yeah, not. Though the positioning means it could be possible, but that would be like an emergency situation, like in Generations, when the helm controls are knocked offline and gravity is pulling you in and there's nothing you can do. Not the Steam Runner.
So close, though.
Yeah, very close.
The Avenger family, most certainly, but the Arbiter needs to be freaking redone.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it has landing gear built in.
Oh, you're right, it does. Oh my word, this thing can land.
It's flat enough. There do appear to be small hatches that allow it to settle just a tad.
Yeah, I would say the Clark would have landing gear. Saber family.
Nope.
No.
I don't see any landing gear. At least no.
But it's... Yeah, I don't see landing gear, but it is flat.
It's a little curved in the front. It would be seesawing a lot.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Not this variant, but probably the others.
Yeah, let's look. Icarus... That one, possibly. That definitely looks like a decent shape for it. The hull material needs touching up, but I can see them adding hatches for landing gear.
Depressingly, no. Hell no.
Yeah, no way is any form of the canoe doing it. I forget. Did we give the Guardian saucer separation? I don't think we did.
We didn't, and she can't. Look at it.
Yeah, that is one piece.
No.
No.
Hell no. This thing's bigger than the Audi.
Yeah, the Jupiter is like a mobile starbase. There's no way that thing is landing. Dyson ships.
Not likely.
I don't think so. New
Nope.
Orleans, no.
Ambassador family, no.
No. Vesta? Maybe?
No, sadly. It would increase the ship's utility, though. This makes me sad.
Yeah, maybe some variant. Maybe some variants would have landing gear, like
the Kalia might be able to do it.
The Bridget, the Bridget, perhaps.
She's small enough.
And it's and the nacelles are downward, and it's close.
Not close enough.
Oh well.
Sad. Not every starship can land.
Yeah.
We know this one can, after it's been destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
If it has landing, we're mainly looking for things that we could possibly apply landing gear to, and the Phantom maybe. Definitely not the Premonition.
Maybe. I'm not seeing any landing gear. That said, a retrofit could allow it, but that's a pretty big maybe.
Yeah.
Nope.
Maybe.
Absolutely not. Yeah, we've pretty much reached the end of the whole thing. Oh god, I really don't like thinking about this thing. Not like it can land anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it won't be able to land. That thing definitely could. I mean, that's basically an advanced Aquarius.
And the Aquarius can land anyways. So yeah, that's pretty much every Starfleet ship. Romulan ones, obviously, that's different.
Yep, and like I said, for all, and let's mainly look into options for. Let's look into options for landing gear and or abundant personnel, because
obviously big flagship vessels like the Jem'Hadar Vanguard Dreadnought cruiser, the port, the big ships.
Yeah, the Dreadnought cruiser, the Jupiter carrier, that would definitely have abundant personnel for Starfleet.
That could potentially have millions of people aboard.
Yeah. Dreadnought cruisers, carriers, any large vessel would have abundant personnel.
Basically anything the size of the size of the Ambassador or higher could have the capability to do it.
Yeah. Though in the core book, the Ambassador doesn't. Just the Galaxy and the Double D. So yeah.
Ambassador in Potentia, Galaxy and Galaxy size and larger, definitely.
Yeah.
So 6 and higher.
Yeah, scale 6 and higher starships would have scale 6. Well, not necessarily by default. The Sovereign doesn't have it, but
Well, the Sovereign could. She may be smaller in overall scale, but she can definitely hold at least as many people as the Galaxy class during operations.
Yeah.
Potentially, she could have at least 3,000 people aboard at any given time.
Yeah.
Which makes First Contact even more terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's pretty much implied that almost every member of the Enterprise D crew was assimilated. Well, the Enterprise E crew was assimilated.
Yeah.
Let's not think about that.
Yeah. Let's think about potential for landing gear. That, again, that would be small starships and flat ships.
Vanguard Temporal Warship, every bird of prey, maybe the Tethys class in some of her more advanced variants.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that one.
The Arkeef variants, maybe?
No, it's still too curved. So close, though.
Yeah.
No. That's just too easy.
Yeah, I mean, the Tethys itself doesn't, but you could easily give it the ability to land. Malum and Tavaro, yeah.
This one definitely can.
Yeah.
By the way, about time that this particular ship got updated.
Yeah.
Suliban.
Yeah, Suliban ships probably.
I wouldn't even want to come close to this thing.
Yeah.
Oh god, I just remembered.
What?
I have these things. The Adapted Destroyer and the Adapted Battle Cruiser. Deal with them at a later date.
Yeah.
But yeah, just pretty much anything flat or a bird of prey that can swing its wings up.
Yeah.
So close. The idea of having these things as fire bases is kind of interesting.
Yeah. And again, anything, the border skew and variants would definitely have abundant personnel.
I'm not looking at it for abundant. I'm seeing if there's potentia for landing ports.
Oh, possibly. I mean, it is flat. Ish. It's just huge.
Yeah, but it would definitely be a massive flex on Starfleet and the Romulan Republic. Your ships are big. Your ships are very impressive. Yours especially. Frickin' Odyssey class.
But
can you land?
Yeah, that if possible, that would be a massive flex.
Actually, you're seeing this part, right? That kind of looks like something that could shoot out.
OMG!
It has landing legs in the main in the large main hull and in the neck. And possibly a landing strut here near the head. That's a 6-point landing gear. This thing can land on a planet's surface.
Oh, holy cow!
Well, it has. Well, the board can land on a planet.
It would probably require a landing pad the size of a city, but it could do it.
Well, it is effectively a. This gives me ideas. Mobile headquarters for the Klingon High Council.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad that the rest can't do it. I mean, they're just too D7. As much as I love the D7, she can't land. But the bullet's flat enough. Maybe the Negvar.
Yeah, maybe the Igvar, maybe the Moog.
Oh, I suspect when the Moog gets her update, she'll get those little landing struts.
Yeah. This was originally just a standard. Here's what's different and what's not in the. Here's what's different and what's not for second edition. Now we're going into what has landing, and it's turned into what can land and what can't. Oh my!
We're having fun. That's the most. And if you're having fun with us, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raptor type ships could land.
But yeah, if you're enjoying the fact that the Bortisque could probably land on a planetary surface just to go, hi, I am a mobile city. Go to hell.
A mobile city with guns. Oh, jeez. I just came up with a crazy scenario.
Oh god.
Bortisque.
Oh god, the Vodavul can do it too.
Yes. But yeah, I just thought of a crazy scenario. Mobile city with guns. I'm thinking Bortisque class starship versus Metroplex.
Well, that might not end so well. Regardless. Ships that can land. This is fun.
Yeah. Klingon Command battlecruisers, definitely. They're flat enough.
Well, at least the Tiger Corps is. And Quad.
Maybe.
But yeah, if you're having as much fun as we are, imagining a Bortisque landing on a planet and just going, we win. Yeah. We're having some fun. And I hope you're having fun with us.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think we're good on updates. After all, basically everything's just, here's a little bit of minor work. And then Taka and I go straight into going about starships that can land. Topping out at the freaking port.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it for the main updates. For hero ship update, we might do some updates for hero ships. That one we might go a little more in depth because, well, we need to adjust the derived stat values, and we should probably consider options for service records. Because service records are certainly a because service records are a thing to add a little extra flavor.
Yeah, storage ships basically falling apart at the seams because they're so old.
Yeah, aging relics depend. I mentioned this in our primer, our 2E primer, but I'll list the service records again. Aging relic, dependable workhorse, legendary, hope ship, prototype, survivor of insert battle or war here. And they do say that and the book does say that players should work with their game master to create alternative service records as desired. So, the 6 listed here are not the only ones that can be used. You can come up with your own. Just come up with a name for the service record, details as to what makes it, and a new special rule that works with it. So yeah, but we'll need to get into more detail for the hero ships. But for basic space frames, this is pretty much it. That we don't need to worry too much about. We don't need to worry too much about further updates.
Regardless, it was kind of fun trying to figure out what would have landing gear and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
A shame the Odyssey class doesn't have it.
Yeah.
At least not yet. Remember.
This thing still needs touch-ups. This thing still needs touch-ups.
And there's a nice big landing ramp right at the base of the curve here.
Anyway,
we hope you enjoyed the fun. Plus, it's a nice little thing to tie us all over until the 15th anniversary bundle decides to drop.
Yep.
And because Deca decided to be stupid and go, hey, we're not going to give you any information until the day it drops. Dumb choice, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway. Bye.
See ya.